Okay, so back for another episode of The Mandalorian. Chapter 22, 23, I can't keep up where they're at, but this one was, what was it called? Oh, I got forget. Selling Survivors or
The Spies.
What was it called? It was selling out something. Oh no, I've totally forgotten the name of it. Anyway, something to do with Survivors, I think. But
it was. I thought it was The Spies.
Was it The Spy? I can't remember now. I'll look it up after. But yeah, I thought this was a good episode. Actually, it was action heavy. There was actual elements of story that were put into it. The main character, Bo-Katan, got a good amount of screen time. The side character of Din Djarin, is where he should be, inside. I basically realised that I've been not necessarily enjoying this series of the show because I've been asking the wrong questions. I've been approaching it the wrong way. And you say there's no such thing as a wrong answer, just a wrong question. Well, I've been asking the wrong question while watching this series, and the question I've been asking is, why isn't Jin the main character? And the real question I should have been, the real thing is, why wasn't Bo-Katan the main character for the last two series? So, looking at it from like Bo-Katan is the main character, and just accepting that fact means that I can enjoy the episode a lot more. I'm still irked by the fact that Jin isn't the main character, and his only contribution to today's episode is to get captured, basically. But having said that, the show focuses on a few good things. The things I like. The Mandalorians. There was definite tension in between the two clans, which I thought they were just going to hand wave over. It was just going to be we're here and just get over it, and they would be like, fair enough. But no, there wasn't. There was actual tension, and there was a conflict, and that was good to see. Like, it didn't just wash over it as it didn't exist. Yeah. I'm hoping that there's more to it than what we've seen, but we'll see. Other than that, I enjoyed the episode. The pacing was good. The story elements were good. This episode and the series suffers from one thing, which it's always going to suffer from, and it's one thing I don't like. It's prequelitis. Yeah. Yep. There's zero tension in a lot of the characters because I know how their stories already turn out. So we know that the First Order is going to come along and take over. So effectively, we also know that the Mandalorians don't win. Right? They don't really win in any significant way.
No.
But having said that, I say still a good episode on its own. Does take the plot a little bit forward, but I think at this point it's too late. So what were your thoughts?
Well, I mean, you just hit the nail on the head. You've almost stolen my point. I generally feel it's too little too late. I appreciate that not every episode can be like full of action. I do appreciate if you're creating a narrative, there's going to be slower bits, and sometimes that's a welcome thing. Just some of the previous episodes have, to me, left a lot to be desired. I think that this episode was certainly the best of the season so definitely. Far. But what concerns me is it's the second last episode.
Yeah.
And the bar has been set so low. I don't want to seem really negative because we covered a lot of ground this evening with this episode. And it was it was actually quite shocking. I'd almost I sat down and I kind of had a packet of biscuits and some juice, and I was like, oh, this is going to be a slow thing. And then by like, 15 minutes from the end, like, biscuit crumbs were falling out my mouth because of what was going on. I was like, whoa, where's this come from? Is it enough to save the Mandalorian? The one thing I did notice before we started doing this is I always have a quick look on social media and just get a reaction. Not so much like actually reading comments and stuff like that, but I did notice the Mandalorian is actually trending on Twitter in the UK at the moment, and it seems to resonate with a lot of people. A lot of people seem to be really interested, especially after this episode. I think it was good. There was a couple of I noticed within the first kind of 5-10 minutes, it kind of covered a lot of story that seemed to be very wishy-washy or very slow moving from the past few episodes. Like, obviously she's a double agent. Obviously Moff Gideon is still alive and all this kind of stuff. They seem to just do that very quickly, and I wasn't mad at it. I was actually kind of glad that we just kind of cut through the BS and went, right, this is actually what's going on. Let's focus on the story. And as you mentioned as well, what I appreciate as well is the different factions or tribes, I think they refer to them as, didn't just get along. They didn't just like shake hands and go, oh, right, that's it, okay, let's go off and get back our home planet. Like, there's definitely different cultures at play here, and it'd be interesting to see if it does get another season, if we explore more of that kind of thing. Yeah, I think not that I'm complaining about it, but yeah, I just had to resign myself to, as you said as well, just resign myself to the fact that Jin is not the main character in this.
Yeah.
And yeah, once you kind of get over it, it's good.
So absolutely right, and I made a few points. I wrote them down because I thought there's quite a lot of things happen in the episode. So I made a few points here. There's a couple of things. One, they have literally decided that Jin is no longer relevant, because did you notice that Grogu now sits on Bo-Katan's lap when they're flying and sort of floats beside her? Mm-hmm. Like, they've literally can't make it any clearer that she is the main character in this story. So I thought, okay, fair enough.
Just one quick point to jump in. What is great is the fact that if you've got children that are definitely under 3, it's great to have finally put them to bed, sit with your partner, turn on the TV, and all you hear is yes, 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 yes. After you think you've escaped that.
I was thinking that exact same thing. That is the thing when he's in the robot, and that is so toddler childlike, where they found the one button and they press it over and over and over again until you want to rip your hair out or just definitely take the batteries out. It's like I was super like, yes, this is like a child. This is exactly what a child would do. So I think that bits like that were like, I don't know if they intended it to be like that. Maybe they did, but if they did, then well done, because that was brilliant. That was beautiful. If they didn't, then I don't know what they were going for. But there was a couple of things that I know what I get to say. Like when Moff Gideon's there, I thought, great, finally getting Carlo Esposito. Yeah, he's brilliant. He goes into his room full of old white men, Empire people, and they start going on about
token women.
Yeah, let's talk women. But they start going on about Grand Admiral Thrawn, and I'm like, I don't care. Who is this person? I kind of know who he is, just from a vague knowledge of Rebels and Clone Wars, but I don't care who the fuck's Thrawn. I don't care who the fuck he is. Why is he so important? Did you care?
But did you not say the other day in some kind of rant video that I saw on YouTube? That kind of got me after they said the other day, like, oh yeah, you don't need to have any prior knowledge, and I was sitting there for a good couple of minutes going, oh, who is that again? And I thought to myself, hang on a minute, they've wasted a lot of time on this for something that ultimately Moff Gideon goes, yeah, I'm going to be the new guy.
Yeah, because
basically,
Thrawn might show up right at the very end, but Thrawn is much more of an Ahsoka character, and I've seen Thrawn in the trailer for Ahsoka. So, like, I don't know if they're just baiting the Ahsoka trailer, or if he is actually going to show. At this point, I don't care if he shows up, because I don't care about the character at all. It has no bearing on the current plot of The Mandalorian. So to keep going on and on and on about him, it's like, okay, give it a rest. I don't care. I also know that he's also irrelevant to the most part because of the prequel syndrome. He's not part of the First Order. None of them are. So, like, I just don't care. Talking about not caring, and I'm jumping back and forth here. The very end of the episode, was set up as like an emotional gut punch, or it looked like it was set up that way. But I was saying to myself, I don't give a shit about this big Mandalorian dude. I don't even know his name.
Oh,
I don't give a shit.
Oh, what is it? Paz.
Big dude.
Was it Paz Vecla or something?
Because it made no sense. First of all, because at one point I thought I heard them saying that all the new, they're not stormtroopers, whatever they are, troopers. At one point I thought I heard them say, they're wearing Beskar, right? So you think, oh god, this is going to be tough. But then big guy just mows through them like they're made out of grass. So then, are they not wearing Beskar? As Moff Gideon comes along and goes, aha, I have a Beskar suit now. You're like, well, don't they all have that?
Yeah, they mentioned during the ambush. So once they go, was it the Grand Forge? Yeah. They've gone underground, and then they're ambushed, and then it's very early on. They do state that yes, they're wearing Beskar armor, and it's like, yeah, okay, but they're dying. But I didn't quite get that.
So the plot armor on here was unbelievable because big guy was able to mow down all these stormtrooper, Beskar trooper armors, right guy? But then when he's on the other side of the blast door, he goes into God mode and becomes invincible against, because he would say, there's too many, you'll die. But he doesn't die. Had it just been them and not the Praetorian guards, he would have walked away. So he mowed them all down, and then they're shooting him, but they're just bouncing off him like nothing, because he's wearing God mode Beskar, not the shitty Beskar that these guys have got, obviously. So I thought, that's why I didn't care when he died, because I'm like, my god, you've been sitting here being shot for 10 minutes. Like, actually, please die.
The only thing that I could think of is the fact that Moff Gideon said it was Beskar alloy.
Oh, you think it's like?
And I didn't know if there was. I didn't know if I was getting too nerdy here and going, well, is it an alloy? So is it not as good as Beskar armor? Do they have pure Beskar? I didn't know if I was going a bit too deep with my metallurgical knowledge. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Like, was that a line stating that theirs wasn't as good to kind of explain why they were all dying?
Like, is it like mixed with something else, like mixed with cheaper steel?
But I was sad when he died.
Really, honestly,
I was sad when he was died. Yeah.
I think that was what they were going for, but I genuinely didn't care. I'm like, because I'm so unconnected to all of these characters because of the way they've treated the season. And even when Mandalorian got captured, like Jin got captured, I'm like, your only purpose here is to be captured. And literally what they've done is But
I know. But the thing is, I know that I have to care about him.
Yeah, so I care about him
because
more.
There's one thing I probably do, but there's one thing I probably do that you don't do, is I watch it with subtitles on. And I know that I'm supposed to care about him because he is a named character. When he speaks, it comes up as a named character. So I knew I was supposed to be sad when he died because he's a named character.
Well, I was waiting for, like, I don't understand. Why does Jin keep bringing Grogu on these super dangerous missions? Like, he brings him down as a part of the advanced raiding party to a planet he knows is hostile.
I know.
Like, there's not like it's not like it's just him anymore.
But in a robot exoskeleton, which, by the way, just made me think he was like Snake, like Liquid Snake in like Metal Gear. and go, yes.
Shut up. Where's the volume on this thing?
Yeah, and he's just learned to drive, and then they've put him in like a really hostile place.
Yeah.
And I was like,
so
what?
Like, yeah, I thought that was just mental. But then I was waiting for, at the end, Grogu to like maybe do some forcey. Like he was going to use the Force to lift up the barrier. Like maybe give Grogu a point for existing, like, or a reason to be there. Like maybe he was going to use the Force to protect his dad, because he's just sitting there going, yes, no. And he's like, other times when he's protecting Jin, he's like going for the Force and like crushed and killed like giant beasts.
Technically, by the way, he was, if I remember rightly, the subtitles stated, I think it was sad cooing. That particular scene, just to be technical, that's exactly what he said. I think it was sad cooing noises or something came up.
Well, that's just
it was like when the ship. It was like when when they saw something in the distance off the starboard bow. It was like, was it concerned chattering came up on the screen. It's like, all right, something dodgy's going to happen now that's come up. So there's pluses and minuses to having subtitles on.
Okay, so we'll finish off with final verdicts and predictions for the future. You go.
So final thoughts is that to actually get my attention back, they're really going to have to pull out the hat next week, because I'm still at the point where I wouldn't be sad if the Mandalorian didn't come back. I'm prepared to forgive them if they finish on a high. I'm prepared to forgive them and just chalk up to try something new this season. It didn't work. It happens with TV series. I get that. But yeah, they're gonna have to up it a little bit next week, build on what they've done this week, and I think next week primarily what it is going to be is the rise of Moff Gideon. I think the Mandalorians are going to be left in a precarious situation with us wondering about their future. I don't think anything is going to be resolved. I think they're going to try and go for the let's hope there's a season 4 ending, if you get my drift.
Absolutely. So, yeah, I agree with most of that. I think that this should have been episode 2 of this season rather than episode 7. We've taken a long time to get to this point, and as such, I just don't care about how it ends now. I just want something that's going to entertain me for half an hour, give me some decent story, some decent action, but I genuinely don't care. If you're a fan of Community, this season is the gas leak year, which basically references that none of it made any sense, and by the next season everyone will have forgotten about it and they'll just move on. So I think we will get a season 4. Listening to what they talked about at the Star Wars Celebration, they've got plans for feature films and tying this all stuff together, so I think we will get a season 4. I think you're right, there's going to be no resolution at the end of this at all. It's going to be end on a cliffhanger, and I'm just going to get more annoyed because they haven't hooked me enough to earn a cliffhanger at this point.
That's interesting. That's an interesting point.
The last episode is going to do something.
Yeah, I think that's a really good way of putting it. They haven't earned a cliffhanger. No, I think that's a really good way. I think that's a really good way to describe actually how I think it's going to end and how I'm going to feel about the ending, if I'm right.
Yep. And say cliffhangers work if I care about the story and then want to see it. But at the moment, it's going to be a cliffhanger and I'm going to be like, I don't care. Just give me an ending to a story. And it can be a shitty story, but at least it's got an ending. So, on that note, we'll leave fingers crossed for next week and see how it goes. But until then, thanks for watching.
Catch you later.